I welcome Scott Evans, host of Couple to Throuple.
Tracy, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to speak with you. And for folks who are perhaps not familiar with your career, I wonder if you would just give a little bit of background.
Yeah, because right, it's like, well, I've been working in entertainment since the third
Mm.
grade. You know what I mean? And I've been pursuing journalism, pursuing a career on screen since I don't know, maybe the ninth grade. We started a television show in Indianapolis called 360 Degrees. It was a show that was being formed before I worked on it, but I was in the program in this kind of like training program to get to the show. Um, and I had this like knack for talking crazy off camera. And one day, making people laugh off camera. And one day, our executive producer was like, "So the kid who's supposed to show up for your segment didn't show up. You got to do it." And I was like, "I will accept this role." And it's been a wrap ever since. And I've been working with Access Hollywood for almost 9 years.
Yeah.
9 years this year. Um, and was working hard news at CBS, anchoring the Channel One newscast um,
Mm.
before that. So, I've got a passion for young people in particular, and I also have a passion for entertainment. It's really about this curiosity about people,
Mm.
about what we like, how we connect, what we connect to.
We'll move on to your latest project, which is Couple to Throuple on Peacock.
Yeah.
And would you talk a little bit about how you arrived at becoming host of this?
Okay, so I heard that they were doing this show at NBC. NBC Universal was developing this show where they wanted. This is the first thing I heard. They want to flip the dating format upside down, and instead of one person looking for one person, it maybe is a situation where couples are interested in opening up their relationship. And I
Mhm.
was like, "This is going to be on TV?" And
Yeah.
so as the show, continued to develop, it also became very clear to me that it was gonna be inherently queer, which
Mm.
was a dream to me. Like I had written down on this piece of paper after watching an episode of this dating show that had every participant in this particular season was fluid in some sort of way. And I remember finishing this season and I was like, this is the greatest thing
Mhm.
I've ever seen on TV. It is funny, it is messy, it is sweet, it is dramatic, and it just was like it was queer. The fact that it was also going to include such a diverse group of participants, being our couples as well as the singles that show up to the show. I was like, this is amazing, and I cannot wait for people to see it.
Would you talk a little bit more about what that means to you to be a part of this storytelling that is leaning into, what I would imagine is a lot of pansexuality?
Yeah, I mean, there's pansexuality, there's bisexuality, there's compersion, which is this new kind
Yes.
of phrase for me. I'm sorry, which is this new kind of term for me to understand this idea, this theory of um, uh, um, receiving joy or pleasure from your
Mhm.
partner receiving joy or pleasure, that you can derive joy from your partner experiencing physical pleasure,
Mhm.
that is like, even outside of sexuality, even outside of sexual orientation, there is this experience of like, you love this, you like this is good to you, which means it's good to me, and I don't
Mhm.
even have to be involved in it any more than that. I was so excited by the
Mhm.
fact that there would be this experience that people could point to on television that, of course, yes, has drama.
Yeah.
Yes, it has humor. Yes, it is sexy at times. Yes, it is, interesting at times, 'cause, these are people who are navigating this space for the very
Mm.
first time. These couples have never been in this situation before.
Right.
Many of our singles have had experiences with polyamory, non-monogamy, and things like that, but, like, to have this slice of what feels like in some cases, for some people, a big part of queer culture, to have that represented in this television show, in this program, it just was like something I was so excited about, because I
Yeah.
just felt like it was time that we start changing the conversations around what is acceptable, what should be normal, what should be okay in the expression of people's relationship.
Well, I wanna touch on because there's some folks in the poly community who've seen the trailer and are a little wary
Yeah,
about how they may be, depicted,
yeah.
and what would you say to those folks who are a little bit concerned about it?
I am glad they're concerned about it.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I'm glad that they are aware, that people are aware of it, especially in the polyamorous community. So and when I say by that is that I'm not like, oh, I'm glad that you are concerned, but I am glad that the show is on that radar. You know, we took
yeah,
Dr. Shamira and I took it very seriously that this lifestyle, this community would be represented in a way that was positive, that would be represented in a way that was true to the experience of the people who were sharing this in Panama with us, but also that, while it is not a perfect encapsulation of what all of poly is, you know what I mean, it is certainly a real um, journey through
yeah.
the experience of an intro to poly
Mhm.
for these individuals.
Was there a moment or something that you gleaned from hosting the show that was revelatory to you or opened you up in a different way?
Yeah, I think I learned more about my capacity for patience.
Mm,
I learned more about my capacity for what real understanding in a partnership looks like.
mm,
It doesn't look like rushing to convince another party that while this is what they feel, this is also how I feel. That real, true understanding first
mhm.
allows a person to stand in exactly where the body that they are, exactly in the feeling that they have, stand on business, as the the young people are saying these days.
Right.
um you know what I mean, allowing someone, encouraging someone to be exactly who they are, and honoring that, you
Yeah,
know what I mean, and not rushing to excuse me, and not rushing to defend yourself,
yeah,
or convince them that while that may be true for them, this is also another truth in the room. I learned more about my capacity for that.
yeah,
Watching these couples really hold space for one another, watching these thruples really create dynamics that challenged everybody involved,
mhm.
including our cameraman, because it was like, who gonna get the shot? Who's going who's we gotta see this right here. Who gonna get the shot? So, it was a really fun experience. It's a
Mm,
really, deep experience too. I
yeah,
think a lot of us expected there to be, oh, there's gonna be a whole bunch of hooking up, because it's like beautiful people meeting beautiful people who are down for beautiful people. And what we all found out very quickly was that this was a very emotional experience, and that
yeah.
before any sort of physical situation, folks were digging into the emotions of this trip, and I think better for it.
I just want to give you an opportunity. If there's something that you'd like to touch on about the series that we haven't spoken about, I wanted to give you that chance right now.
I recognize that couple to thruple is a loud title. I realize that the vehicle of thrupledom may be off-putting to some people, because it seems like a contradiction to a uh, uh, monogamous sensibility. But I think
Mm,
that at the heart of this show, what is really happening is that people are auditing and challenging the mindset, the thought, the idea of what their relationship can, or what their relationship must look like. And they are searching for answers to find the best dynamic for them.
Scott Evans, host of Couple to Thruple, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Tracy, you are the bomb. Thank you. Anytime.
You are kind. Thank you.